Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 18 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, the new Necron Technomancer model, and then deploying him in our game. Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we're bringing you issue 18 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. With this issue we got a Necron Technomancer model. It's also advertised as coming with a new battle mat, but unfortunately that's been delayed, it doesn't come with this issue. We got a letter to say it will come with issue 21, so hopefully that will be sorted out and it will come with that. If you want to see the battle report you can skip ahead using the time code in the description or using the chapter bars, but we'll have a look at the contents of the issue before we get to that. First up we have a background on the Technomancer. They are a branch of Cryptek, which are Necron scientists and engineers, and they also function as advisors to the nobility. Technomancers specifically are concerned with Necron technology and repairing and maintaining Necron equipment. You can see this particular one has a Staff of Light, which is a powerful energy weapon, both in melee and can fire energy bolts. He has a Cryptek cloak, which is a sort of mechanical construct that helps repair things. And we have his battle record here. You can give him some personality quirks and so forth, and a name for his war gear. Next up we have background on Space Marine power armour. It protects them and enhances their strength and gives them all sorts of various other benefits. There's a bit about Terminator armour here, most of which are ancient relics worn only by Space Marine veterans from the First Company. Offers excellent protection and lets them carry a variety of powerful weapons. And over the page we have Tacticus armour, which is the armour worn by the Primaris Space Marines, like the Assault Intercessors we've had. There's Gravis armour there, which our aggressor models wear, which is a heavier variant. Phobos armour, which is a lighter, more stealthy variant, like the Librarian in Phobos armour. And also mentions Omnis armour, which is worn by Suppressors, and it incorporates a Grav chute and a jump pack. Now we have background on the Drakari. These are kind of the evil cousins of the Asuryani craft world Eldari that we learnt about in a previous issue. This is again in the form of a sort of in-universe report by an Inquisitor. They're sadistic raiders and pirates who live in the alternate dimension called the Webway. On the back there's a bit about the Camorra, the city they live in, which is in their own pocket dimension, and how they tend to take prisoners and torture them in order to prolong their own lives. And we have a short story about an Adeptus Mechanicus team trying to recover technology from a ruined Forge world before the Necrons can get their hands on it. Now we have the build instructions for the Technomancer. It's fairly easy to put together. You will need glue though. It's nothing too tricky. Make sure you get the correct legs on the spider-like creature that forms part of the cloak. It doesn't mention it here, but it might actually be a good idea to assemble the cloak section and then the body of the Technomancer separately, because that way it makes it easier to paint the back of the cloak and also the back of him, and then glue them together once they're painted. And then we have the painting guide, so this is just getting him up to the standard we've been doing for our Necrons so far. So Runelord brass base coat, then Abaddon black for parts of his skeleton, but also his Cryptek cloak construct. Then applying gold to the leaves of his cloak, and also some of his trinkets, I suppose. And lead belcher for certain parts of him as well, as it shows here. Painting white parts that will later be a sort of energy colour mostly, and also the rocks on his base, which are then washed with Agrat's Earthshade. And finally here he is to the point we've painted him so far. So that's it for our issue contents. We'll get on to our game now.
So now we can get into our game for this issue. The fighting on Megaria has spilled out of the Necron tombs into the planet's abandoned refineries and mining complexes, and a Necron Technomancer has been going around and repairing fallen Necrons, but the Space Marines have managed to isolate him, so a Primaris Lieutenant with some aggressors have formed up to try and take down this Necron engineer. Luckily for him he has some Cryptek destroyers to assist him. So we have the board set up, we have the aggressors and the lieutenant over on one side and the Cryptek destroyers and the Technomancer over on the other side. And we have set up locations for all our terrain, now rolling off randomly to see where they are. And then we have the data sheets. So we have the one for the lieutenant, I'll do him first. Nothing really new here except he has the character keyword because it's been quite a while since we've seen him. And then we have the one for the Technomancer. So you can see by his stat line he's not really a combat character. He's only strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, only 1 melee attack and only a 4+ save. Now this weapon's A is his Staff of Light, which you can use in melee, or you can shoot with it. It's much better with shooting. He has a living metal rule and he has a character. The main thing here is he has the Cryptek cloak. which means he actually can move 10, even though it says 5 there, you can move 10, and he can fly. And at the end of the movement phase, you can repair one friendly model within 3 inches of himself, and that model regains D3 lost wounds. And if you had multiple Technomancers, you could only repair each model once per turn. And it doesn't mean he can heal himself, because he is a model within 3 inches of himself. That's how rules like this usually work. And then in the game, the Necrons get to go first, and there isn't really any new rules. The only thing here is something called wobbly models. Basically, if you can move a model somewhere, if a model is balanced but it looks a bit wobbly, it's okay to move it off to the side. You just remember where it actually is for the purposes of line of sight and that sort of thing. Obviously, if a model's base can't balance somewhere, you can't really put them, and it's a bit too far for the purpose of wobbly model syndrome, as it's called. But other than that, the game just proceeds normally. And the end goal is the Space Marines win the game if the Necron Technomancer is dead by the end of the Necron's 4th turn. This issue was advertised as including a new battle mat, as you see here, showing off some of the future models we'll get, but it's been pushed back to issue 21, and presumably in releases in other countries, and hopefully that will have been fixed. So we'll get the board set up and get into the game. So here we have the board set up. We have the Cryptek destroyers around point B. It doesn't actually say they need to be on point B, but we set it up according to the diagram. It does just say they need to be wholly within the 3-inch deployment zone. And the Technomancer's up there at point A. And then the Space Marines, I've got the aggressors around point B, and then the Lieutenant just above them. And the Necrons get to go first, so we're on to Necrons turn 1.
Also, in my movement phase, the Technomancer has moved into the middle of the board and the Cryptek destroyers have moved around to protect him. I considered sending him up to get him in shooting range, but then the aggressors wouldn't have to roll very high on their advance to get him in range of their flamethrowers, and he's only got a 4+ save and toughness 4, so it's probably not actually a good idea. But he only has an 18-inch shooting range, so he can't shoot from there, and I'm obviously not going to do anything else, so that's the end of my turn.
Yeah, and we'll be on to Space Marines turn 1. Yeah, my turn's fairly simple as well. Both my units have advanced. They both only rolled a 2, unfortunately, so it's going to take them a little while to get close to the Necrons. I don't think I would have been able to get the Lieutenant in range if he moved normally, and obviously the aggressors are too far away to shoot. So that'll be the end of my turn. On to Necrons turn 2.
And I'm just going to run away into the corner and hide over there. Again, I thought about moving up and attacking, but there's a reasonable chance I might fail my charge and then I'll just be stuck in the open, and that will give the Space Marines a chance to kill the destroyers. So I'm not going to do that. And the Technomancer still isn't in range to shoot, so I won't be doing any of that, and that's the end of my turn again.
My turn, the Lieutenant's moved up normally. He's going to have to do some shooting with his pistol, and then the aggressors have moved up as well. They have to advance, but they can all get within flamethrower range of the Technomancer. And then we'll be on to the shooting phase. I'll start with the Lieutenant. He's going to shoot at the destroyers. So he has 2 shots hitting on 2s, getting 2 hits. Wounding on 4s, strength 5 versus toughness 5. 1 wound.
He doesn't have any AP, so I got my 3+ save. Oh, I failed. The destroyer takes 2 wounds. I will put wounds on that one, bring it down to 1.
Yeah, and then all the aggressors. We can't shoot at the Technomancer because of Lookout Sir, because he's within range of a unit with 3 models. So they're just going to fire all their flamethrowers at the destroyers. So we have 66 flamethrower automatic hits. Oh, that's quite good. It's going to be 25 hits. Wounding on 5s though, because there's only strength 4. 11 wounds.
So 11 3+ saves. Failed 2. So this destroyer dies, it's left to 1 wound, and then this one here will take a wound and go down to 2.
And that'll be the end of my turn, so we're on to Necron's turn 3.
So at the start of my turn, that destroyer heals his wound because of living metal.
Yep, Dave will need to use the Technomancer's cloak.
And then in the movement phase, the destroyers have moved up to be in the face of the aggressors. I will charge them, because as long as I have a destroyer left, it'll take them out of the game, effectively, for the rest of it. And the Technomancer is actually going to stay in the corner, because if I move him anywhere at all, then the Lieutenant will have a shorter charge. And that would obviously be bad. But in the shooting phase, he is now in range to shoot with his Staff of Light, which he's going to shoot at the aggressors. He has 3 shots, and he hits on 3s, so he hits 3 times. It's strength 5, so it wounds them on 4s. So it wounds twice, and it's an AP of -2.
So 5+ arm saves for both. So an aggressor will go down to 1 wound. We'll put it on the guy on the barrel.
And then we're on to the charge phase. The destroyers will declare a charge against the aggressors. They only need to roll a 2, but it might be to get in the Lieutenant's way. Yeah, with a 9. The other 2 destroyers will engage the aggressors on the end like this, just to form more of a barrier for the Lieutenant and make it harder to get to the Technomancer. And then they get to fight it first in the fight phase. We're going to do the one with the hyperphage threshers first, which is the one that gets more attacks but isn't as powerful because there's a guy on 1 wound. So 4 attacks hitting on 3s, we've got 3, and wounding on 4s because it's strength 5. Well, they all wound at AP -3.
6 pluses, nope. So that's going to be, this guy takes 2 wounds and dies, and then I'll take away this one. So Sergeant's still alive.
Oh, and now we have the Hyperphase Reap Blade, which is 3 attacks hitting on 3s. We've got 1. Wounds on a 3. Oh, it didn't kill him.
So Sarge lives.
But I will consolidate this destroyer just to make sure Sarge is within an inch, because I don't want to leave him out of combat. That would be bad.
Yeah, and then the Sergeant gets to strike back. So the aggressor Sergeant gets to fight back. He has 4 attacks, 3 base, plus 1 for being a Sergeant. He hits on 4s, because his fists are unwieldy. He gets 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, because he's strength 8. Only 1 wound, so he's not going to wipe out the destroyers, unfortunately.
But only a 6+ to save. Oh,
there you go.
There you go.
That'll be it. Sarge does get to consolidate, I suppose, so he'll go around this way. But that'll be it for the Necron turn 3. On to Space Marines turn 3. There isn't an awful lot I can do, but the aggressive Sergeant's going to fall back. I don't have another turn after this, but if I did, that's what I would do, just to make sure he survived, and the destroyers would have to choose who they're going to attack. And the Lieutenant has moved normally, so he can shoot at the Technomancer, and he is just about in range to be able to charge. We'll see if we can finish off the Technomancer with his pistol first. 2 shots from the Neo Volkite pistol, hitting on 2s. Well, he rolled a 1, so there's only 1 hit. Wounds on a 3, which he did.
4+ save only, which he made.
Then we're going to have to make a charge. Needs to be an extremely high roll, like an 11, so an 8 is not enough. So that means we would go into Necron turn 4, but the Necrons don't need to do anything now, because the Technomancer just needs to survive. Still call that a Necron victory, and we'll do it best of 3 as usual, so we'll reset the board and hold another go. So there we are, we've reset the board, no difference in deployment. We did think about trying to set them up slightly differently, but 3-inch deployment zone is pretty much as far on as the models already are, so we'll just go with this deployment again. And head into Necron's turn 1.
Oh, I see no real reason to do anything other than what I did last turn, so just moved everybody into the middle, protecting the Technomancer, and that's the end of my turn.
Well, and in my turn, like the last game, both my units advanced. They got better rolls this time. The aggressors got 6, which means they've moved up to almost halfway up the board, and the aggressor Sergeant is actually in range of the front destroyer there. Lieutenant only got a 3, but that's enough to keep him behind. He moves slightly faster anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. So in the shooting phase, the aggressor Sergeant's going to fire his Flamestorm Gauntlets at the destroyers, since he's just in range. 2d6 automatic hits for 5, wounding on 5s. Only 1.
Get the 3+ save. I made it anyway.
Yeah, he would have regenerated that wound even if he lost it. No charges on my part since both my units advanced. So we're into Necron's turn 2.
So this time I can move up the destroyers in this turn because it's a much shorter charge, and the Technomancer has also run away to hide in the corner again to get far away from the Lieutenant as possible. But in the shooting phase he is in range of the aggressors, so he will shoot at them. He has 3 shots hitting on 3s, getting 1 hit. Wounds on a 4. That's a wound.
5+ armor save. Failed. Aggressor at the top has 2 wounds left.
And then destroyers will declare a charge just on the aggressors. Their charge roll is a 7. That's enough. And they will charge to over this side, so I'm not within 3 inches of the Lieutenant, and also getting in the way towards the Technomancer. We'll do all the Threshers first, since there's a guy on 2 wounds left. 8 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 6, and wounding on 4s. Just 2.
6+ armor saves. Oh, I made 1, so only the wounded aggressor will die. So this guy at the top is killed.
3 attacks with the Reap Blade, hitting on 3s, getting 2. Wounding on 3s, getting 1 with an AP minus 4.
Sarge is alive again. So the other aggressor is killed, and then it's down to the Sergeant.
And just consolidated a bit to block the Lieutenant off slightly. This guy getting closer to the Sergeant as he moves.
Yeah, so Sarge gets to go, he'll pile in. He's just going to pile in a little bit and attack the destroyers. Sarge has 4 attacks. He only hits on 4s though. He only gets a single hit. He wounds on 3. He does.
6 to save. Nope.
D3 damage. 2.
So destroyers down to 1 wound. I'll put it on this one.
And that'll be it for Necron's turn 2, onto Space Marines turn 2. So in my movement phase, the Lieutenant's moved up normally, and he's just about in range of the Technomancer from where he is. The brave aggressor Sergeant is going to fall back, so he doesn't get chopped to bits by the destroyers this turn. On to the shooting phase, the Lieutenant's going to fire his pistol at the Technomancer. 2 shots hitting on 2s, getting 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, getting 1 wound, so no winning the game with the pistol shot.
4+ save though. Oh, failed. He does take 2 wounds.
In the charge phase, the Lieutenant's going to be brave because he might be able to hold up the destroyers long enough for the aggressor Sergeant to get in range. His charge roll has a 9, so the Lieutenant's going to end up there. Only 4 attacks from the Lieutenant, hitting on 2s. Only got 3 hits. Wounding on 4s, getting 2 wounds.
6+ to save. made neither, so it will damage one and kill the another one. So that one is killed, and this one here will take 2 wounds and go down to 1.
He's not quite in base contact, he's going to go like that.
Oh, that one will pile in a little bit, and I'll just move there, doesn't really make any difference. 4 attacks from the Threshers, doesn't matter which order. One of them misses. Wounding on 3s against the toughness 4 lieutenant, so 2 wounds.
2 4+ invulnerable saves. Made 1, failed 1, so he's down to 3 wounds.
And then we've got the Reap Blade hitting on 3s, getting 2, and wounding on 3s as well. Getting 1, so
4+ need to make this to live. He made it. So that's the end of Space Marine's turn 2. On to Necron's turn 3.
So first off, Living Metal restores this destroyer to 2 wounds, and the Technomancer to 3.
Yep.
And then in the movement phase, the Technomancer will just shuffle back into his corner as far as possible. And at the end of the movement phase, I can use his Cryptek Cloak to heal a model within 3. Well, he'll just heal himself that wound he's taken. Then on to the shooting phase, where he is in range of the Regressor Sergeant. 3 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 2. Wounding on 4s, getting 2.
5+ armour saves. Fail both. Sergeant's down to 1 wound. Well, but then we're on to the fight phase, where the Lieutenant gets to go first, so he'll attack the destroyers. 4 attacks with his sword, hitting on 2s. They all hit. Wounding on 4s. Only 1 wound.
6 to save. Nope.
Well, that is 1 dead destroyer, though. Destroyer with the big sword gets to fire back.
3 attacks hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
2 4+ invulnerable saves. Oh, failed 1. 3 damage. So the Lieutenant is killed. The destroyer can consolidate if he wants to.
Yeah, he'll consolidate 3 inches that way. It doesn't make any difference, really.
He can't get in range of the Aggressor Sergeant. But that'll be the end of Necron's turn 3. On to Space Marine's turn 3. So my turn, this is the last ditch attempt. The Aggressor Sergeant has advanced and he rolled a 3 so he can get on top of those ammo crates. And he's going to have to try and flamethrower the Technomancer to death, because he was far too far away to charge. We have 2d6 automatic hits with the Flamestorm Gauntlets. If I roll less than 4, the Necrons will automatically win. I got 5 hits, wounding on 4s. Only 2 wounds, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, just make his saves. Oh, he made both saves anyway.
So, yeah, that isn't enough to kill the Technomancer, and that'll be another Necron victory, so they'll win the best of 3, and I think we'll just recap those games for you now. So that was the game for issue 18 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
Well, fairly well, obviously. I didn't feel like I had to do very much to win that, to be honest, because really I was just able to hide in the corner, and there's not that much you can do about it, because it was another one of those odd games where it was the end of Necron's turn 4, which actually happened before Space Marine's turn 4.
Yeah, and you can just fly him out of range, because he can fly.
Yeah, as long as I got to charge and hold you up and dictate the pace of the game, the only thing I really had to fear was a good roll for shooting for your Lieutenant, really.
Yeah, the Lieutenant can kill the Technomancer with a random shooting if he rolls one off. It's not terribly likely to happen, but I suppose it's not too unlikely to happen that you wouldn't bother. I think there were a couple of times where, like, if the Lieutenant got 2 wounds with that shooting, the Technomancer could have died straight there, or if the Aggressor Sergeant had rolled 12 hits, then on average he would do enough wounds to kill him.
Well, yeah, exactly. With the 4+ save, it's just not that reliable.
I think the Aggressors would need to use their flamethrowers and charge the destroyers to win. The destroyers have too much AP, I think, to fight. The big sword alone can wipe out the aggressors in 1 turn if he rolls well enough.
Yeah, and if the destroyers get the charge, then they're always going to be favourites. And they beat the Lieutenant as well. But as you say, if the aggressors got to shoot first and then charge the destroyers, it would be a different matter, probably.
Yeah, if they can chip off some wounds, they could probably do it. If the destroyers die and the Space Marines still have a turn left, then the Technomancer's probably screwed, because there might be enough shooting to bring him down. I suppose it does tell you that you need to keep him protected at all times, preferably near a unit big enough to give him lookouts there.
I don't know, in the example, do they move up and attack with this?
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah, because that just seems to be a rather silly thing to do, because if you're within 18-inch shooting range with him, you're within range for the aggressors to advance and flame him, which probably won't go well with all 3 of them attacking him.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been fairly easy for me to get everything in range of him. I don't think this scenario really shows off the Technomancer all that well, really, because his healing ability is going to heal. Yeah, he's at most going to heal 1. So I think if the Lieutenant shoots at him, he'll either die or not. If he takes 2 damage, he'll get 1 back. And if you keep him near the destroyers to heal him, he's way too easy to charge, and he's not good at all in melee, and he's not even that good at shooting, to be honest.
No, I mean, but as you noted in the profile, he is a support character.
But yeah, I don't think this scenario shows off that ability very well either,
no.
Unfortunately.
No, when I heard we were getting him with this issue, I was a little bit puzzled, because he interacts with various rules that we haven't got yet.
Yeah, he gets a rule that allows him to actually bring models back.
But we don't know how that works yet.
So he uses keywords.
Yeah, I suppose it means the Necrons now have the same number of characters in the first 20 issues that the Space Marines do, with 3 each. It's just that this one does things that aren't really that useful for the models we have yet, or at least not with the rules we have yet.
Also with the scale of the games as well. I mean, if you have essentially a unit and a character each side, I don't see why you'd pick the Technomancer over the other two.
Yeah, his shooting is okay. It did do some wounds to aggressors. Like his weapon isn't bad in melee, but he's only got one attack to use it with, and
he's only toughness 4.
Yeah, and he has a 4+ save. Not that we're by any means saying he's a bad character. He's a very good character if you use his abilities for what they're for, which he doesn't really get to show off at the moment. He needs to be in support for someone else. It might look a bit strange to see that he has a 5-inch move, but then his character cloak gives him a 10-inch move.
Yeah, technically there's another version of the Technomancer which you don't get with the magazine, but that is his actual profile, and then having the cloak gives him a 10-inch move on fly.
Yes, it's technically an option that he can have, but this model obviously has it.
And it's a really cool model. I do like it. And, obviously, since it's a character, it's a very good savings on this issue as well.
Yeah,
I think he's normally about £20.
It's half price, if not better, pretty much.
And kind of disappointing to not get the battle map, but we don't need it for a while, so...
No, it's no problem for your games. I think it did show in that example that you can flip it over and it joins up with the other side of this one. So if you were waiting for a bigger battle mat, you have to wait another couple of weeks. But we won't need it till issue 21 for the magazine games. So
I think this magazine's starting in America in January. Hopefully that hiccup will be fixed. Maybe they'll just move it to 21 again, or maybe we'll get it in 18. Yeah, but otherwise, I don't think there's anything more to say about this game or this issue. So as always, if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. And leave any comments if you play this game. Tell us how you get on, how you get on with building the models and all that sort of thing. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.